is Canada's Texas, but with universal healthcare, higher taxes, and it's frozen. It's filled with conservatives, cowboys, and a rodeo obsession. They've got stampede and lifted trucks with loud mufflers, and love oil and gas. People
5 seconds into this, and this is the most truest thing ever.
are super friendly and their love for oil is so intense, they put oil in their cereals and wash their hair with it. When oil
Also, talk about oil every fucking 5 seconds.
booms, they're like, we're leaving Canada. And when oil busts, they ask for equalization payments from Ottawa while praying, please God, let there be another boom. And promise not to piss it all away this time. So they're conservatives until it's inconvenient for them. Every other
Yep.
province loves to hate on Alberta.
Yeah.
They also firmly believe that BC's license plates should say powered by Alberta oil money.
Uh-huh.
So yes, they work in oil and gas. And no, they don't want to talk about carbon tax at goddamn Thanksgiving. But just as much as they love their oil, they hate Justin Trudeau.
Oh my
They
god,
hate him
yes.
so much, they'll vote against their own healthcare system if you tell them it was Trudeau's idea.
Uh-huh.
You'll never meet someone who can simultaneously hate Trudeau and love their F-350 as much as an Alberta. And they for everything. Pipelines, the federal carbon tax,
Yep.
the weather, hell, even him just existing.
Yep.
And believe that thanks to him, Alberta isn't its own country yet.
Uh-huh.
Damn it, Trudeau. They'll act like minus 30 Celsius is just a little chilly and will refuse to wear proper jackets. And no, they
Yep.
don't shovel their driveways.
Nope.
Why bother when you can just wait for a Chinook? But if they do shovel the snow, they're gonna do it while wearing shorts.
And
That's the biggest
sandals.
flex. They
And
hate
sandals.
Ontario's superiority complex and BC's hippie vibes and housing prices, but retire in BC and move to Ontario for jobs. They blame all of their problems on Toronto liberals and Ottawa elites. They also use their huge lifted trucks to pick groceries or just go to the Tim Hortons 2 kilometers away.
Uh-huh.
And Nickelback was from here. Enough said.
Nickelback.
Everyone in Calgary works for the oil industry.
Calgary.
All die-hard Flame fans and
Yep.
talk about hockey all the time. There are no vegetarian options since they're obsessed with steaks and barbecues. South of Calgary and overall southern Alberta culture is a weird mix that resembles Montana, Utah, Alabama, and Texas combined.
Yeah.
They're like, don't talk to me about environmental issues. Oil puts money on the table. And also, Calgary has the cookie cutter house thing going on.
At my
Also
time.
festivals like Fringe, Folk Fest, Heritage Days, just to distract themselves from the fact that the city is frozen half the year.
Yeah.
It's cold as balls, but they shake it off because it's at least dry cold. They have a big rivalry with Calgary.
They do.
Hockey teams.
They do.
They have refineries, and those suckers don't. Yeah, they only have that good-looking tower.
Red
Is
Deer.
where you stop for gas and peeing, but regret not holding it until Airdrie. All the trucks there have I love oil stickers.
Yeah.
British Columbia is the ultimate showcase of Canada's breathtaking natural beauty and overpriced real estate.
Yep.
Actually, BC doesn't stand for British Columbia. It stands for Bring Cash. Everything is so expensive down there. Somehow,
That's so
it's like
true.
Canada's Northern California. The main general stereotype about BC is that it's filled with hippie, yoga-loving, green-smoking vegans who
Yeah.
wear flannels and love the outdoors.
Yeah.
And also that they're laid back, love the nature, and survive on avocado and bone broth.
Uh-huh.
They only drink craft beer and wine, and all of them work in media and
Budweiser.
tech companies. But these main stereotypes apply mostly to the lower mainland because there's a big difference in lifestyle and culture in lower mainland compared to the other parts of BC.
Yep.
People think BC used to be awesome, but when everyone moved there, it made it very diverse. So they're averaging out to everyone else's personality. Aside from that, back in the day, people were a lot more nice. But the housing crisis made everyone into a greedy and grumpy renter.
Yep. Vancouver.
Let's start with Vancouver, the crown jewel of BC. It's also known as the no fun city, so it's kind of a boring place. It rains all the
No
time,
fun
and
city.
winters aren't that bad. Everyone drives a white Tesla Model 3,
Yep.
and in the West Vancouver, everyone's a rich yuppie who can't shut up about crypto while driving their G-Wagon. About the people, they're kind of friendly friendly and not friendly at the same time.
Yeah.
That being said, it's really hard to find friends there since a lot of them are pretty flaky. So you have to stay home alone without a friend and think about how you're gonna pay the rent next month.
Yep.
Additionally, there are lots of hippies. P.S. If you call them a hipster and they say F you, they're indeed a hipster. And although there are lots of Starbucks and Tim Hortons there, they just prefer local coffee shops.
That's
And
true.
unfortunately, the city council seems to have a personal vendetta against anything that might make life enjoyable in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Kelowna, or should I say Kelownafornia, has some really mean people and is filled with retired Albertans.
That's true.
It's a melting pot of
Jesus
super
Christ.
rich and extreme poverty. It doesn't have the best infrastructure, and everyone in Kelowna isn't from there, so not much of a community. They drive so fast that speed signs are like minimum speed for them.
Holy
there are
shit.
lots of wineries and strip malls. It's a bit country, and it's filled with big truck driving folks who say folks a lot.
Northern
Up north,
BC.
things get interesting. People there are much nicer, and there aren't many stereotypes about northern BC, mostly because the rest of the population doesn't even realize people actually live up there. When you tell someone you live in northern BC, they'll have three reactions. 1. Holy BC goes that far up? 2. It must be cold as balls up there. And 3. Oh, is that like near Kamloops? Yeah, but in my opinion, anything above Prince George is considered northern BC. Speaking of Prince George, it's the armpit of BC, a rancid little city filled with rednecks and crime. And it is one of the oldest cities in the province. And it stinks, bro, thanks to the pulp mills. But if you go far enough north, things change. You'll find towns where the only entertainment is the local diner and the occasional moose wandering through main streets.
I mean,
These places are mostly blue-collar mining or logging towns, and while they might seem boring, they're actually not half bad for a quiet life. The work culture here is a little different. In rural parts, kids barely make it out of high school, and then their dad fixes them up with a mining job, earning 6 figures straight out of high school.
Yep.
Meanwhile, people in Lower Mainland are so clueless about northern BC that if Alberta annexed it, they wouldn't even notice.
Vancouver Island.
Vancouver Island. About the island, Victoria's where you go to retire. Regardless of the weather, they wear shorts all year long, and there are fireworks for every occasion. Halloween, Easter, St. Patty's Day, Election Day, Tuesday, and
Tuesday.
It feels like a day trip to them. They usually forget to turn on their lights when they're driving their 80s Volvo or Subaru Forester at night or when it rains. Next, we have Nanaimo, which is filled with homeless people, drug addicts, and it is basically Surrey by the sea. Also, they have beautiful arbutus trees. Tofino
Oh my
is
God.
where you go to pretend you're a surfer even though the water is freezing. And about Chilliwack, the name explains it all. It's filled with chill and wacky people. A mix of
Wacky.
old and new, rural and urban, conservatives and liberals, trucks and EVs, and so on. It's also so freaking beautiful though.
It
But
is.
overall, more chill than vac. And it is a
Chill
fun
than
place to
vac.
live, in my opinion. But here's what
I
I
like the
love
way he
about the
says
island.
it.
If you want to go to a wedding, Blundstones. Wedding in the summer, Birkenstocks. Take out the trash, socks and Birkenstocks.
Yep.
The city
Sorry.
gets a bad rap for crime, but this stereotype is outdated. It's much safer now, with lots of strip malls, townhouses, and golf courses. People in Surrey are rich, and there are lots
Sorry.
of Punjabi and Sikh people. If you're into churches and pickup trucks, you are in the right place. The people are generally friendly, and they move there not because of the city, but just because it's more affordable compared to
The faces.
is famous for the Metro Police at Metrotown. If you ask them something, they'll be like, yes, no, or no, yes.
Yes,
Which
no.
is a passive
Yeah, no.
way of being indecisive.
Yes.
It is known as Little Asia or Vancouver, with a huge Asian population. So you can enjoy the Asian cuisine and suffer from the airplane noises and deal with bad drivers.
Oh.
And hello to you if you're from Langley. But which one?
Manitoba.
The people of Manitoba are considered frugal and kind of cheap.
Loony.
Flannel and thick-framed lensless glasses are friendly and they often drink and drive. And if you hear one of them saying, I'll pray for you, they're basically saying you're an idiot. Oh, and go Jets. but they lose all the time. Manitoba is so damn cold in the winter.
Uh-huh.
Give them -40, that's fine, but they don't do rain because that's wet cold. It gets into your bones. Winter here lasts 10 months, and the other two just construction and mosquito season. Hence, giving this place the nickname of Winter Peg and Manitoba. And if you're visiting in the winter, locals will ask, if you're not from here, what the hell are you doing in Winnipeg? And I'm not done with the mosquito thing. Manitoba is the mosquito capital of the world. They even have a city named Komarno, which means mosquito infested in Ukrainian, with a giant mosquito statue. These people love drinking Slurpees even in the dead of winter. And even if you survive,
I feel like that's anywhere in Canada. I feel like any part of Canada will just have a Slurpee in winter.
Are crime-ridden. And auto theft is so common that locals leave the keys in the car as a community service. Winnipeg has the most great bands per capita, and Folklorama, the largest multicultural festival, is really just an excuse to drink Ukrainian beer and eat pierogies in a church basement. They also have Churchill, the polar bear capital
Polar
of the
bear.
world. Really strange capitals, Manitoba. Making friends in Manitoba is very hard, since everyone went to high school together. And the province is flat, isolated, and everyone knows each other. They have a rivalry with Saskatchewan to see which one is colder and is more forgettable for the rest of Canada.
Oh God.
These people also roast their own province, but later defend it fiercely.
New Brunswick. Oh God.
They're the only official bilingual province, so you have to speak 2 languages to work at McDonald's. They can't understand you when you speak French and cannot understand you when you speak English. New Brunswick is beautiful with dense forests and long roads, but unfortunately, like a lot of Atlantic provinces, it is overlooked. For this and the following provinces, you're gonna hear these 2 statements a lot. 1. They're very friendly. 2. The healthcare is one of the worst in the country.
Yeah.
It's like the province is stuck in the 1980s. Everyone in New Brunswick is either a LeBlanc, Therian, and Thibodeau. You want a proof? Lisa LeBlanc. New Brunswick is where Nova Scotians take their kids for a weekend in the summer.
Yeah.
So they feel like they went on a vacation.
Yeah.
They see Magic Mountain. And
Magic
Hill,
Mountain.
And then go back home and start
Yeah.
a fan market on the way. As you may know, the Irving family owns everything there, and they're quite a powerful family. About
Like
the
a
capital,
mafia family.
Fredericton is a sleepy town, and it is quite boring. The nature makes
I've been to
up for this.
Fredericton. I
St.
love
John's
Fredericton.
smells because of the pulp mill, and the winters are like rain, snow, rain, snow,
Yep.
rain. And for the last part, here's a list of places with weird names: Cocaine, Cushy Bookback, Dingley Cooch, Ha Ha Cemetery, Raggedy Ass Falls, and the best one I actually cannot say. I don't want the video to get taken down, so just Google it. And it starts with N.
Newfoundland and Labrador.
They're the friendliest people of Canada, or any
No.
on Earth.
You lie.
They're
Are not.
called Newfies.
The Newfies are not. Shut up.
Call them that as long as it's not derogatory. The capital is Fort McMurray.
Yeah.
Sorry. And the province is
The amount of Newfoundlanders that are in Fort McMurray is crazy. It might as well just be Newfoundland, but on the other side of Canada.
very scenic and beautiful. About the weather, it's either raining or it's foggy. Just like all northern provinces, these people are heavy drinkers.
They are.
So much so that they call the six-pack a kid's pack. Just don't pick a fight with them while they're drunk. But if you do, make sure they have a bottle in their hands.
Yeah.
They don't want to spill the drink.
True.
Whether they're drunk or sober, they love to gossip about everything and everyone. But honestly, these people are having a lot of fun. Although the province itself is a mess and people in charge handle almost everything pretty bad. But that doesn't make them not love the rock. Also, Newfies have a great sense of humor.
You can't understand them though.
What I personally love about them is their accent. They speak pretty fast, and "bye" at the end of a sentence
Boy.
could mean anything. Buddy, boy, sir, idiot, I will fight you, etc.
I'll fight you there, boy.
They love potatoes, croutons, and Jig's dinner. And they wash
I've
their
had
hands
Jig's
with
dinner.
butter.
Jig's dinner is
No
actually pretty
Coca-Cola.
good.
They hate those guys. Also, I love their kitchen parties with all of their salty foods. It's awesome. And Newfoundland is also home to this adorable little creature.
Yeah.
And they also have the famous screeching tradition. But I gotta say, as much as I wanna be honorary Newfie, I don't want a cut to be my first kiss. And finally, my favorite part, the weird town names. Granny's Hole, Virgin Arm, Blow Me Down, Boobies, Dildo, and the best one, Bytona, which used to be Gay Side.
Oh, Nova Scotia.
These people are super friendly and hardworking,
Yeah.
and they absolutely love and at the same time hate living there. The
Yeah.
music scene in Nova Scotia is great.
The fact how true that statement is astonishing. Like, like, let's just go back here a second.
These people are super friendly and hardworking,
Mhm.
and they absolutely love and at the same time hate living there. The music scene
It's so true how much that statement is. I will emphasize it so much.
in Nova Scotia is great. They love listening to Celtic and folk music. They're chill and laid back and not in a hurry.
Mhm.
That's why you could see some senior citizens hogging the left lane.
And they can't
Nova
frickin'
Scotia
drive.
is the hipster of Canadian provinces. They weren't content with New Scotland, so they had to go all Latin on us and call themselves Nova Scotia. A Nova Scotian either lives in Halifax or somewhere far away. And about the weather, they have 4 seasons: slush, construction,
Yep.
slush,
Yep.
and winter.
Yep.
And you have to know that the temperatures in Nova Scotia aren't as low as the western provinces in the winter,
Nope.
but keep in mind that the cold is wet cold. So
Yeah.
it'll penetrate through your layers.
It's a nasty
Lobster
cold.
is also a big deal. there.
Lobster.
Their jobs, they're either a fisherman,
Yeah.
a lobsterman,
Yeah.
or related to one. They
Yep.
love to eat seafood and also doner. And they think
Doner.
and also, just like most provinces I mentioned, these people like to drink as well.
Yeah.
After they get drunk, they rant about the weather for long periods of time
Uh-huh.
because the weather is pretty much unpredictable there. They love their kitchen parties and watch hockey all the time. And you gotta know that the community is pretty tight knit and everyone knows each other.
Yep.
So you have to watch out for gossips. Nova
True.
Scotia is one of the poorest provinces and the taxes aren't high.
Oh, that's also very true. Okay.
They're crazy high. So unfortunately, like a lot of places in Canada, people are living paycheck to paycheck. And
Mhm.
although the taxes are high, they sort of have nothing to show for it. Like
Yeah.
bad roads, bad highways, bad healthcare, bad public transit.
Yeah.
I could go on forever. But overall, these people are cool in my opinion.
Mm.
They're warm and welcoming and say bud a
Bud.
lot and
Hey,
are
bud.
proud to be a blue noser. P.S. They hate to be called Scotians. Call them a blue noser and they appreciate it more. And to wrap things up, let me introduce you to some wonderfully named places in Nova Scotia. Ikem Sikem, Balls Creek, and this one, Gros Coach, which is French for big clams.
Ontario.
The main stereotype I ran into everywhere is that they're self-centered and judgmental and don't know anything or care about the rest of the country. And they think Toronto is the center of the universe.
Yeah.
Also, they say Ontario is very American and it doesn't feel Canadian at all. But this doesn't apply much to the northern and rural parts. Everyone in Ontario is from Toronto. At least that's how the rest of the country sees it. In fact, Ontario is basically thought of as just a bunch of land masses surrounding the province of Toronto. If you meet someone from Ontario, they're gonna tell you they're from there in the first 5 minutes.
Yep.
Also, people from Quebec call them squareheads. Ontario is the only province that makes Quebec look responsible with money. Ontarians are also super busy all the time and are always in a rush while being stressed about everything.
Jesus
The traffic
Christ.
plays a major role in this. In the worst case Ontario, you're gonna be stuck for hours in 401.
Yeah.
Winter in Ontario is brutal, but no worries. Once you get through the
Winter
bitter
and
cold,
anywhere in
you'll
Canada
reward
is
with
brutal.
50-degree summers, 99% humidity, and mosquitoes. And if they get
Mosquitoes.
cold, they'll just rent a water heater instead of just buying it. And
Yeah.
to be honest, that's the only thing I can afford to rent in Ontario. They love playing euchre and don't believe there's such a thing as too much of it. They hype up the Toronto Maple Leafs only to watch them lose every single year. And how weird is it that they call the electricity bill hydro bill? It feels like the water.
Do
bill,
they?
to be honest. Ontarians also gave us Polkaru. And yes, the same actor who misses them is Polkaru.
Toronto.
They will drive 2 hours north of the GTA and say they're up north. So for the people in Toronto, basically anything beyond north of Ellicton is total wilderness. These people usually drive fast, way too fast, except for Ottawans. They drive like they have no idea where they're going. This city is huge though. It takes like 3 hours to drive from Toronto to Toronto. If a foreigner comes up to them and asks them where they're from, they'll just say they're from Toronto instead of Canada. They also think that they're like New York, while Ottawa is like DC. People from Toronto are very progressive, and it's just a matter of competition for them to see who's more woke. And when they have
The
nothing,
fact that all of this is such a Papa Knight is he's originally from Toronto, and my God, I have to send him this video now because he's gonna lose it.
else to do, they just complain about TTC. But enough with the negative stereotypes. Here's what I love about this place. It's amazing libraries, beautiful parks, great
Go.
food from all over the world, tolerance for multiculturalism, and public transit is quite decent. Also, big bands always have a concert in Toronto.
Yep.
And to wrap it up, if it was 2016, I would say Drake was the coolest person who came out of Toronto. But after getting toasted by Lamar, I'm just gonna go with a black squirrel. And they look cool.
Ottawa.
Ottawa is a very sleepy bedroom town for families and bureaucrats. Everyone works for the feds and has security clearance. They wear white socks in their sandals, drive a minivan, and own a fanny pack for everyday life. Even with 1 million people, the whole place seems like a small town. It's sort of like Canada's largest small town. They have an uptight bureaucratic vibe in winter, but people switch to long t-shirts and flip-flops in the summer. The city is considered to be boring and is constantly
Everyone just
compared
wears
to
flip-flops in
Montreal
Canada.
and Vancouver. There aren't many clubs for the partygoers, and on top of that, the whole city shuts down after 9 p.m. It's also famous for being the place where fun goes to die, so they always throw festivals to cover the silence. And they complain about public transit and are all supposed to be able to speak French, but they can just say bonjour and merci.
And
For
merci.
food, only two options. One, a shawarma place. Two, the late Rideau Street McDonald's, which traumatized everyone. You can always spot people with backpacks and suits. What's the deal with that? And these people aren't in a hurry to go anywhere. They merge onto the highway at 60 kilometers per hour and go 80 kilometers per hour while on the highway. And note that they hate and avoid anyone with a red license plate. In Orleans, everyone is a white public servant with an English first name and a French last name, or vice versa. When in Vanier, make sure to lock up your bike and remove valuables from your car. Just saying. A
Hamilton.
guy's girlfriend tells him to kiss her where it stinks, so he takes her to Hamilton.
Hamilton.
Everyone hates and complains about everything, and the steel mills are polluted and stinky. This place has wonderful waterfalls and great places for running and hiking. And the famous Borden Street is truly run down and simply terrible, with lots of potholes. And Hamilton is basically
Everyone has
a place for people
potholes.
who can't afford Toronto.
Mississauga.
You have to own a car in this city.
Yeah.
They have beautiful forest trails, marsh trails, river trails, lots of trails.
Brampton.
There are lots of immigrants, and Brampton has one of the highest car insurance rates in the
Holy
country.
shit.
So the drivers are amongst the worst.
London.
London. Every time you have to Google it, you should include Ontario at the end.
Yeah.
And the traffic is pretty bad.
Prince Edward Island.
It's the smallest province in Canada, but it's still bigger than Rhode Island. Yay, Canada.
Yay.
People are wonderful and they love hockey. It's sort of the only province that lives under the shadow of New Brunswick, though. And about the food, they love lobsters and also potatoes, and even have a potato museum. Anne of Green Gables is from this island.
Yeah.
Honestly, the show was pretty awesome.
The show was
I
good.
haven't been there myself, but from what I've seen in the show, the island looks absolutely stunning. And they have lots of tourists during the summer, but the island basically shuts down in the winter. I'd say they have bad drivers. They easily go 20 to 30 kilometers over the limit. And also, there's a lot of drunk driving going on there. And some drivers don't stop when you're at a crosswalk, so you might even get clipped. And also, they had this awesome rock at some point.
Oh, I remember that rock.
They have this long
Wait.
bridge called the Confederation Bridge, which
Wait.
connects them to the
Wait. Go back.
There's a lot of drunk driving going on there. And some drivers don't stop when you're at a crosswalk, so you might even get clipped. And also, they had this awesome rock at some point.
I remember this rock. I seen this rock. This rock was so cool. I remember it. And then I think it was the tide that came in and like destroyed it. I think that's what happened. I remember seeing this rock though.
It's gone now, unfortunately. And they have this long bridge called the Confederation Bridge, which connects them to the mainland. But islanders hate that they have to pay $50 in toll just to leave the island. And about the healthcare, it's damn near non-existent. And the last part, the places with weird names. Weak, Skid, I don't know how to pronounce this, Crap Pot or Crap Hole, Itch a Bit, and Poverty Beach.
Poverty Beach. Oh no, Quebec. Fuck.
Quebec, the largest province, and they always remind the rest of Canada that they're French. The weird thing is in Quebec, no one will speak French to you if they think you're still learning. Bonjour, un café, s'il vous plaît? Here. Merci. So when they say hello or bonjour, just say hello if you can't speak French. This province is the only place in the world that's more French than the French. There are lots of stereotypes about Quebec, but one of them is that they always look for an excuse to separate from Canada. They eat poutine every day, and overall, the food in this province is top notch. Quebec has a maple syrup monopoly going on. By producing 70% of the world's maple syrup, they control everything. They even have a maple syrup reserve to keep the prices steady.
What?
People wear their opinions on their sleeves and are very straightforward, and they'll tell you exactly how they feel. So, no passive aggressiveness on their regard. In Quebec, 99% of women are brunettes, but every girlfriend is blonde, and every boyfriend is a friend-zoned chum. The women are considered to be really beautiful, and they all get the same perm after they hit 50. What I love about this place is that they don't pursue money all the time. They're happier enjoying themselves, but with the current housing and grocery prices, I don't know how you can just enjoy yourself though. Winters are not that good in Quebec. Here are a couple of pictures to show you why. So, when it gets cold, everywhere shuts down in Quebec. These people pack up and then drive to Florida to finally see the sun after 4 months. One other thing I love about Quebec is their cool, religious-themed swear words, like tabernacle or Christy. And some of millennials have two last names, and I always wondered what their children are going to do.
Oh,
Are they
God.
going to have 3 or 4 last names maybe? They gave the world Caillou, and the rest of Canada has been taking the heat ever since.
Yeah. Montreal.
This feels like a French version of Philly and Boston combined. Compared to other metro cities like Vancouver and Toronto, Montreal is cheap. The roads are really bad, and there are lots and lots of potholes.
Yup.
So be careful. Also, you'll meet lots of terrible drivers. Let's just say you're in Montreal and you are trying to get from point A to point B. Spoilers alert, you're going to be an idiot about it. And you're going to deal with these. Bad drivers, jaywalking pedestrians, insane cyclists, waiting for the light to turn green after making it halfway across the intersection,
Yeah.
and the buses that are really just 1.5 buses long.
Literally.
They have bad public transit, and especially traffic is pretty bad.
Yeah.
A lot of times during your commutes, you'll find yourself surrounded by orange cones because of heavy traffic caused by construction. Yeah, like a lot of other places in Canada, construction is managed poorly. About the food though, they have great smoked meat sandwiches and of course poutine. Just don't put ketchup on it and they won't kill you. Montreal bagels are also truly a piece of art.
Yeah, they are.
It's pretty fun. There are lots of festivals and events going on all the time. Although the people are somewhat bilingual, you won't find someone who speaks the both languages very well. Some also call Montreal the city of stairs, but most of the stairs, especially the railings, are poorly constructed. The stairs were built this way to avoid having to heat indoor staircases, because heating used to be relatively expensive. But I don't know whether it's worth breaking your neck falling down from one of these in the winter though.
I mean, that's
Speaking
true.
of which, winters are so cold in Montreal that Russians get nostalgic about back home, and summers are so hot and humid that Haitians go back home to chill.
Quebec City.
Quebec City is one of the oldest cities in North America. The city feels like you've stepped into somewhere in Europe. Seriously, it feels like the whole city was built in France and then teleported to Canada. But it's very clean and beautiful, especially during Christmas time. The city is not that cold. Winters are usually between minus 13 and minus 18 degrees.
Oh, that's not
I
bad.
just love Canada. Like minus 18 Celsius isn't even that bad for you guys.
Exactly.
But we have to thank Alberta and Manitoba for raising the bar on what cold really means.
Yeah.
Taxes in Quebec City are high, and I don't know, they love poutine.
Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan is so flat, and the classic joke about it is that you could watch your dog run away for 3 days.
3 days later.
And at the same time see your ex moving on in another province. Although the north has mountains, I promise. Everyone here is either a farmer or knows a farmer, and they love canola and wheat.
Yep.
They complain all the time about why crops are dusty, and in every town you could see a grain elevator. Saskatchewan's true religion is Rough Riders. Wearing anything but green on the game day is a sacrilege.
It
And
is.
winters are brutally cold. Although they cope like Albertans, saying at least it's not wet cold. They take
Yeah.
the phrase help thy neighbor to another level, shoveling your driveway, waving and smiling whenever they see you. And also everyone in this goddamn province knows everyone. If you get a job interview, the interviewer probably knows your uncle.
Yep.
Saskatchewan is the only place where hooded sweatshirts are called bunny hugs. And outsiders are ridiculed for not knowing this. Summer in Saskatchewan could be summarized into one word: mosquitoes and some big ass bugs. And this
Ugh.
has always
Hate
bothered me.
bugs.
Why isn't the province a perfect rectangle? But hey, they grow your food, power your homes, partly, and they also gave Canada universal healthcare. And still, no one remembers them.
Yep.
But at least Corner Gas was filmed there.
Corner
Lansing was-
gas.
If you drive there, it means straight roads and zero turns. And the only curve you'll notice is the earth curvature. And interestingly enough, rural drivers salute each other with one finger. And if you ask them why the province is so windy, they'll say Manitoba sucks and Alberta blows. The name has been a punchline for 12-year-olds and outsiders for a long time. Also me. They envy Saskatoon for having a cooler nickname, and rivers, and better restaurants.
Saskatoon.
Saskatoon is known to be the Paris of prairies. If only Paris had 37 bridges and lots of potholes. Saskatoon and Regina roast each other all the time, but they unite to hate on Alberta.
Yep. Everybody hates Alberta.
It's peaceful and very beautiful, but living there isn't that easy, or rather isn't for everyone. If they want any serious medical and mental well-being services, or just to buy groceries in bulk, they have to go to Whitehorse. The only thing more terrifying than the dark blizzards in the winter is seeing the number of digits on your internet bill. But the summers are awesome. Take a look at this picture. It looks very peaceful, right? But one thing isn't shown in here, and that is the bugs. They're big and
God, I hate
terrifying,
bugs.
and there are a lot of them. So keep that in mind if you want to move there. Since there are not so many people in Whitehorse, dating is complicated. It's like you don't lose your ex, you simply lose your turn.
Oh
Yellowknife
God.
people are very welcoming and friendly, and they all know each other. There, you're either a miner or work for the government. You can make good money, but you'll spend it all because everything is so goddamn expensive. Also, the rent is crazy high.
Yep.
There are plenty of outdoor activities, and the nature is beautiful. And they also have the bug problem here. People drown
Everyone
themselves
has
in
the
booze,
bug
and
problem, I
drunk
swear.
People with snowmobiles cause problems all the time. Some people like Northwest Territories. Others wanted nothing to do with the land. They wanted none of it.
None of it. I like this
There are
guy.
only
He's
like
funny.
12 people with access to internet. They have sleeping bags in their offices, so if the occasional blizzard happens while they're working, they could sleep in the office. The winters are pitch black and bitter cold, and during summer they get like 20 hours of daylight. In Nunavut, liquor costs an arm and a leg, but somehow everyone seems to manage to slip into alcoholism. People either hate or love living there. I used to pronounce this province none of it, so here
None
are
of
some
it.
jokes. You've heard about good infrastructure and easy access, right?
Ah.
Well, they're having none of it. Okay, I like this joke so much. Here's another one. It was named Nunavut because that's how much land the federal government told the Inuit they could have to settle land claims.
Well, I both enjoyed that and am both offended at the same time. Is that even possible?